When there's a home game you don't want to miss, Ticketmaster's got you covered. As the official ticket marketplace of the Phoenix Suns, Ticketmaster
Loader to backhoe, the Upshaws have the tools to DIY all day long. Run with us on a 1 Series tractor and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com.
1050 ESPN New York. The biggest names and the biggest games. WEPN New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
On Sports Center all night. Tiger returns to Riviera 2 years after his tragic accident.
It was a lot louder than I played in a tournament a long time because I haven't played in any tournaments. I was trying to calm my I didn't really look up as much. I probably should have, but I didn't. I was trying to calm myself down all day, trying to figure out, what the hell I'm doing out here.
The Celtics makes things official with Joe Mazzulla.
To come in seamlessly after everything that happened with Ime Udoka and just hit the ground running now to being 42-17 in the NBA, the overall best record in the NBA. For me, I get a lot of props to Joe because he's kept everything cool, calm, and collected with that same fire.
Plus, we remember World Series champ Tim McCarver. This is Sports Center all night. Here's Jim Basquill.
Yeah, the Suns welcome KD. The Bucks suffer a scare, and another college team goes down. Welcome to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Those stories and highlights ahead, but we lead it off with Tiger. Yeah, Tiger Woods made a successful return to PGA Tour competition on Thursday, finishing with 3 straight birdies, a 69 at the Genesis Invitational. That leaves him 5 shots back of co-leaders Max Homa and Keith Mitchell. Woods playing for the first time against the world's best since he missed the cut at the British Open last July at St. Andrews. He looked to be losing ground with 2 bogeys in 3 holes, leaving him at par or over par through a dozen holes. Then a special finish to his opening round. He spoke about the crowd and his nerves after carding at 69.
I was able to simulate nerves at home because I've come off layoffs before, and I was able to simulate that stuff, but there's nothing like come game time. Just the feeling of the butterflies and trying to calm all that stuff down. The adrenaline, the ball goes further. Even though it's cold out here, it was going even further than we expected. I had to dial all that back in. Joey hadn't seen me hit a golf ball in a while, and so obviously his feels are. We're trying to get the feels for out there, and then the shots and the distances. And we adapted very quickly.
Are you more aware of fans screaming your name than you used to be? And do you enjoy it more, or did you kind of tune it out?
It was a lot louder than I had. I've played in a tournament a long time because I haven't played in any tournaments. I was trying to calm my. I didn't really look up as much. I probably should have, but I didn't. I was trying to calm myself down all day, trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing out here. Because I haven't played, I had to try and figure out what the chess match is going to be. Misses, angles, wind. These are all things that have come second nature to a lot of these guys. I haven't really done this in a while, so I was almost so focused on what I was trying to do, talking to Joey, trying to figure it all out. I probably should have appreciated the fans more than I did, but there was so much going on in my head.
Now, Woods hit 6 of 14 fairways, 12 of 18 greens in regulation. And again, Thursday marks 844 days since his last competitive round in a non-major. He's not finished in the top 10 on the tour since 2020 at the Farmers Insurance Open. So this was must-see. ESPN radio host Aaron Goldhammer.
This was riveting to watch him play 16, 17, and 18. And it was an incredible scene because he was in a group today with Justin Thomas and Rory McIlroy. So talk about a star-studded threesome to be playing the first round at Riviera. Here's the way I'll put this, Amber. To me, if Tiger Woods isn't playing, not only am I not watching the Genesis Invitational, but I'm not even taking the time to look up for 1 second on my phone who won the Genesis Invitational. If Tiger is in it, it was on in my basement all afternoon. That's the difference that he makes.
That's the overriding theme of Tiger Woods. Things to know about this tourney. Well, 21 a winner, Max Homa Open with his best score in 21 rounds in the event. World number 3, John Rahm, posting his 7th round of 65 or better. But again, it was about the tournament host, Tiger Woods, opening with that 69, highlighted by consecutive birdies on his last 3 holes. He's returned to the course, continuing his illustrious career. Team PTI.
All right, Wilbon, what would be a successful season for Tiger Woods this year?
He's having it. Play a tournament. One. Just play. I mean, we need to require something of Tiger Woods. We don't know how great he is. He's either the greatest ever at what he does or one of the 2 or 3 greatest ever at what he does and what he has done and how he has changed everything about golf. Not just the game at the professional level, but the entire industry. Tiger Woods. So it's like asking, what would be a successful season for Tom Brady? I don't know, playing, taking a snap. Their greatness is unchallenged. When people say, well, his legacy will be enhanced. Shut up. His legacy is what it is. He has changed his sport forevermore. Whatever he does is icing on top of that cake.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to try and get inside the mind of Tiger Woods. But I'm sure Tiger Woods would tell you that a successful season would be winning at least one tournament.
Yes.
Because I think he goes out there thinking he can win all the time. We look at this differently. It was 2 years ago that after this particular tournament, the Genesis tournament, he got in that terrible car accident. And success then was survival. And success after that was walking. And success after that was swinging a club here and there. I don't know that any of us thought he would be playing in an actual tournament. I know I played the Masters, right? To me, competing, knowing that the people you are out there with revere you. And if you fall down, they'll pick you up and carry you in. That should be the greater success. But as you know, from your relationship with Michael Jordan, doesn't work that way in their minds. In their minds, they have to win. No, in their minds, they have to win. To me and to you, he has had a successful season by playing at all.
Just being out there.
To him, it's different.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the Phoenix Suns are nearing a blockbuster deal to bring in Nets star Kevin Durant.
4 unprotected first-round picks, a pick swap, all going back to the Nets for Kevin Durant.
This is quite the haul for Brooklyn. If you were going to move Kevin Durant, you got back plenty to start fresh.
And this is a team in the desert that certainly is going to have some immediate championship aspirations. Kevin Durant is a Phoenix Sun.
Yes, and he was introduced by the Suns on Thursday, joining a team that has Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton. The 13-time All-Star informed the Nets he wanted to specifically be traded to the Suns. Brooklyn obliged. KD on why Phoenix.
They experienced a lot the last couple of years. You see the growth in this team. When Monty took over, when James came here, I see the culture started to change. The way they played on the floor, the energy they played with started to change. And I always loved playing here in Phoenix. The fans always showed love to, just good basketball in general. They always cheered their fans on, but they showed love to the opposing team as well. So I knew this would be a great place to play and a great place to continue to get better as a player. You got somebody like Devin, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton, guys that work, and I wanted to be a part of that. So I'm excited I'm here. I'm looking forward to trying to add as much as I can to the group already. Like I said, they built themselves up and built the structure and the infrastructure up for themselves already, and I'm looking forward to adding to it.
Nick Friedel, who suddenly has a new beat on the timeline for KD's return.
They want to be extremely cautious, as they should be. He's just coming into the organization. He's learning the new offense. And Monty Williams said something interesting as far as the timeline goes. Kevin still hasn't been cleared for 3-on-3 or 5-on-5 stuff. Everybody's going on the All-Star break, including Kevin, to Salt Lake City the next few days. They're not supposed to have another practice till a week from now. So do you want to push it where you might do some scrimmaging right after the break and he get 1 or 2 under his belt and that would be it? I mean, we'll see. But I would expect him to be back on the floor at some point in the next couple weeks. It's just that nobody has a clear certainty on when that day will be right now.
Durant on why it didn't work out in Brooklyn. 3.5 seasons, no division or conference titles, just one playoff series win.
We just didn't get on the court enough. I think when you seen James, Kyrie, and myself, it was amazing basketball for 17 games, though. But you need, in order for you to win a championship and be a great team, you just need more time on the floor. It's another story about why we didn't get on the floor together, but we just didn't get enough time on the floor. And those are Hall of Fame players that I learned a lot from every day, and I'm wishing them the best as well. It just didn't work out.
Come on, Kevin. We know why. His name was Kyrie Irving, which was Durant's blind spot as a net. On the subject of pressure, the question wasn't posed on if there was just that on Durant, who joins his third so-called super team. Instead, on it, this puts pressure on Chris Paul. Stephen A. Smith on that subject.
You CP3. This is the best chance you've had to win a championship. This is better than the chance you had 2 years ago against Milwaukee. This is better than that because you got Kevin Durant. You got Kevin Durant, who I believe, when healthy, is the best player on the planet. That's how I feel about Kevin Durant. With Booker and a dude in Ayton is no scrub. Ayton can give you 20 and 10. Ayton might have got outplayed by Giannis, but it took Giannis to outplay him. He didn't get outplayed by anybody else in the postseason that year. I believe in DeAndre Ayton. The brother can play. I'm sorry. I got a 7-footer in the middle. I got a 6'11" dude that's the ultimate wing player, Mr. Mid-Range himself, with a three-point arsenal, can drop 30, 40, 50 in his sleep. And I got Booker. And all I got to do if I'm CP3 is run the show. No, you got to win this year. You got to win this year.
Vince Carter not necessarily in lockstep with Stephen A. on that subject.
But is there any pressure on him, though? I think naturally people put the pressure on KD because he's the one that has come over there. I think for Chris Paul, this is a cakewalk for him because now his basketball IQ and his ability to make plays for everyone now is going to heighten because look who he's making plays for or two or setting up. KD and Book. So and then he gets to really eat as a third scorer. Like this thing, their third guy now is Chris Paul, who has had flashes and signs of greatness in the playoffs. Now he gets to be the third guy.
No KD on the floor, of course, on Thursday with the Suns home to the Clippers.
Here's George on the right side. He fires and hits from 15 feet over Josh Okogie, and Paul George now with 18 points on the night.
As heard on AM 570 LA Sports, Paul George and Terrence Mann, each with 26. Clippers win in the Valley of the Sun, 116-107. A scare for the Bucks.
4 on the clock. Kobe to the rim. Up, no. Rebound, and it goes out of bounds. Giannis is hurt. Yep. We had Kobe underneath the rim, and we got Giannis underneath the rim, both on the floor.
Kobe's hurt, too. Oh, Giannis came down on top of Kobe. They both came down on the corner of the basket stanchion.
That's 670 the score. Buck star Giannis Antetokounmpo exited this in the second quarter of Thursday's 112-100 win over the Bulls with a sprained right wrist. X-rays did come back negative. The initial reports on the injury were minor. His status for All-Star Weekend uncertain. The Bucks did get their 12th straight win. Brooke Lopez scoring a season-high 33 points. Hey, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU this morning, 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. Jeff Darlington joins the show at 7:15 Eastern. Chris Canny at 8:30. How about Sky Moore, who scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl at 9 Eastern, and ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum at 9:30. Coming up, college basketball offers a top 5 upset. More NBA with the Celtics taking the interim tag off their coach. That's next. This is SportsCenter All Night on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Friday, the NBA has hit their All-Star break. So I'll tell you which teams need to pick it up, or they'll be watching the playoffs in 1-2-3 Cancun. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, E2, and ESPNU.
This is Sports Center All Night.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, Julie, have you made your decision?
Oh, wow, I have. This was a tough choice. I had such a great time with Brad, but I am gonna have to pick Geico.
Interesting.
Geico is just, sorry, I'm getting emotional. Been by my side, for so long with great customer service.
I thought we had something, Julie.
I'm sorry, Brad. Geico is just always there for me whenever I need them.
It's an insurance company.
No, it's an insurance partner, Brad.
For the choice you can always rely on, go to geico.com.
When Shopify says you can sell anywhere, oh, they mean it. Woo, hold up. Just got a new sale, order fulfilled and shipped. Inventory level's good. Whoa, Shopify doesn't mind if you're at sea level or on top of the world. You can run and grow your business anywhere. Climbing mountains is never easy, but at least Shopify gives me all the tools I need for my business to hit new peaks.
Whether you're selling carabiners or crop tops, start selling with Shopify today and join the platform simplifying commerce for millions of businesses worldwide. We've built the platform so you can keep climbing and grow your business to new heights.
With Shopify, you really can sell to anyone from anywhere.
This is Possibility, powered by Shopify. Start selling online today. Sign up for a free trial at shopify.com/play. 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 Internet connection required. Not available on mountaintops or seafloors.
Hello there. My name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors that's unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you're going to get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
This is Sports Center All Night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Here's Jim Basquall.
Yeah, we're back on Sports Center All Night with another top team going down from college hoops.
And that will be it. Final seconds ticking on. And here come the students on the floor. The Terrapins have upset Purdue 68-54 with a fantastic second half. It is bedlam.
You heard the call on the Terrapin Sports Radio Network. Jameer Young scored 20. Maryland passed third-ranked Purdue 68-54, dealing the Boilermakers their second consecutive loss. They trailed the Terps 37-29 before erupting for a 29-4 run to take control, improving to 14-1 at home this season. Julian Reese, one of three Terps in double figures, joining Freddie and Fitzsimmons.
That was a great feeling. I feel like we just put in all the work this summer, taking care of business on our body, taking care of business on execution, finishing plays, hustling, and doing everything that it takes to win. And I feel like we did all that time together and we were able to get the dub today. And that Cornerstone was crazy. I made sure I got out of there.
Yeah, the Terps beating top three for the first time since taking then number 3 Iowa in January of 2016. Maryland coach Kevin Willard post-game.
I knew we were going to win. This was not a surprise for me, but I think it was important for, this is an unbelievable program. It's one of the best programs in the country. I think it's important for the fan base. I thought it was important for the students to kind of just understand what this program's really all about.
3 goes down, but not 2.
Over to the left wing, Sasser, 10 on the shot clock. Sasser jabs right, step back, left corner, 3. Got it! Marcus Sasser! What a move! Sasser himself can't believe the move he just pulled off.
Jeremy Branahan from Learfield. Marcus Sasser scored 20. Second-ranked Houston cruising past SMU 80-65. With a win at home Sunday over Memphis, the Cougars could be in line for their third stay atop the AP Top 25 poll this season.
Miss, no good. Rebound, Ramey. Pass, push it the other way. Creasa, stop and pop a 3. Got it.
Such quick transition from a defensive rebound, 2 passes later, made 3.
Brian Jeffries, Learfield. Kirk Creasa had 17. 8th-ranked Arizona routs Utah 88-62. They bounced back from the loss at Stanford last week and avenged the loss in Salt Lake City earlier this season, when 9 for 18 from beyond the arc, outscoring Utah 38-20 in the paint.
Gale lead is 18. More full court pressure here as Barcelona stretches the pass to Dukas in the front court. Dukas drives, drops it off to Saxon, low right. He slithers his way to the left side of the cup and banks it in. Saxon with the game-high 15.
That's the St. Mary's Radio Network. Mitchell Saxon at 17 with 10 boards. 17th-ranked St. Mary's held off San Diego for its 14th win in 15 games, 62-59. Gales lead Gonzaga top the WCC with 3 games to play. We'll hear from those Zags later in the show. Cameron Weston scored 16. Middle Tennessee beating 25th-ranked Florida Atlantic 74-70. First win over a ranked opponent since 2016. And Michigan State University has made the decision to resume play after discussions with players and staff, as well as mental health professionals, following an on-campus shooting that took the lives of 3 students and injured 5 others. You're listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. I'm Jim Basquel. The Boston Celtics have named Joe Mazzulla their full-time head coach, removing the interim tag he's held throughout the front side of this season after stepping in for Ime Udoka. The Celtics head to the All-Star break with the league's best record at 42-17. Jay Williams on First Take.
I get that people are going to say, well, this team got to the NBA Finals last year. All the pieces were in place. You know, it's a matter of health with Robert Williams and company. But to come in seamlessly after everything that happened with the Ime Udoka and just hit the ground running now to being 42-17 in the NBA, the overall best record in the NBA. For me, I get a lot of props to Joe because he's kept everything cool, calm, and collective with that same fire holding Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and this core accountable. I think he deserves a contract, and I'm happy for him.
How about back on the floor?
Bradley Beal left the circle, guarded by McDaniel. We got to get going on this play. Off a Porzingis screen. Beal, top of the arc for 3. It's there! It's there! Wizards sending the biggest lead. 110-106 with 36 seconds left. We said take over Bradley, and he has 35 points. You kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. We're dead serious.
And there's no kidding there, right? Bradley Beal, 13 of his 35 over the final 4.5, has hurt on the team 980. Wizards rally from 20 points down in the opening quarter. Best the Wolves 114-106. Cavaliers and Kevin Love working towards a possible buyout. He's played 9 seasons in Cleveland, the last remaining player from the 2016 championship team. Meantime, the Spurs at 14 up, 45 down. Half game better than the Rockets for the worst mark in the league. Greg Popovich pulling no punches on the status of his team.
Guys challenging 7-footers just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And yeah, they're young and blah, 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 and all that. That young thing is getting old. At some point, you have to take pride in what you're doing execution-wise and competitively, and that starts with defense. And we really suck. And I want to enjoy themselves on the break, be with their loved ones and that sort of thing. But I want to take a little time, and I want it to hurt a little bit as far as feel a little sorry for themselves because they're losing games. You don't want to lose, start playing some defense. That's the deal.
Can you say Wembanyama? NBA's All-Star Weekend starts tonight. NBA Rising Stars game presented by Indeed. Coverage begins at 9 Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. Earlier today, we talked to you about Kevin Durant, introduced by the Suns. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver on the subject of star players demanding trades.
Sage, you've been covering the league for a long time, so you know it's not a new issue. I think it gets there's more attention focused on it than ever before because of all the fishbowl effect of social media and the opportunity for every single comment to be magnified in incredible ways. So, I mean, again, go back to earliest days of this league, guys have demanded trades. Having said that, of course you want players to honor their contracts. You want to the extent that there's always going to be discussions that go on behind the scenes between players and management about whether it's the right situation for them. But you never want to get to the point where a player's literally demanding that he goes somewhere else.
Coming up, Tiger Woods didn't show any rust on Thursday, and we'll spin that quarterback carousel around the NFL. That's next. This is SportsCenter All Night on ESPN Radio.
Greeny. I believe if he announced today his retirement, he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer. After 5 years, he's played 6 total. He's only actually been on the field for 5 of them. He would be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on
Winter mornings are brutal. So here's a tip for tackling the day in comfort. Grab new Tommy John loungewear and take cozy wherever you go. When you start the year in Tommy John, you're that much more comfortable, so you can do everything better. Tommy John loungewear, pajamas, and underwear have dozens of comfort innovations, like luxuriously soft tri-blend and micromodal fabrics with 4-way stretch, and no lint balls or fuzz. With over 20 million pairs sold and thousands of 5-star reviews, people love Tommy John. That's why Tommy John doesn't have customers, they have fanatics. Like this Tommy John fanatic who raves, I bought 1 pair of loungewear, and after wearing them for 2 days, got all the other colors available. The only place I don't wear them is in the shower. Plus, it's all backed by Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guaranteed. Get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com/stream. 20% off right now at TommyJohn.com/stream. See site for details.
Greeny. I believe if he announced today his retirement, he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer. After 5 years, he's played 6 total. He's only actually been on the field for 5 of them. He would be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. This weekend is All-Star Weekend on ESPN Radio. It all starts tonight. The Jordan Rising Stars kick off All-Star Weekend. Then it's All-Star Saturday night, featuring the Skills Challenge, the 3-point contest, and the NBA Slam Dunk. Finally, on Sunday night, Team LeBron and Team Giannis go head-to-head in the NBA All-Star Game. This weekend is NBA All-Star Weekend on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on your smart speaker.
Coming up Thursday as Aaron Rodgers heads into the darkness. How long should quarterback-needy teams wait for him to decide his future? I'll give you my answer, Keyshawn J. Willimax, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
What if I told you, in Iran, women are banned from going to soccer games?
Mom, take the ball. I love you.
For 43 years, Iranian women have fought back.
Police pushed us. Troops.
This is their story.
The joy was forbidden. What is the meaning of that? That is how they control you.
I'm Shimol Yai. Listen to the new 30 for 30 podcast, Pink Card. Available now.
Did you miss Canty and Carlin?
I ain't going to say too much about the quarterback situation. You know, I just know a little something about something.
That was Breece Hall, Jets rookie running back from this past year.
Is he going to be in the room with Aaron Rodgers during the darkness retreat? Exactly what's going on here where you feel like you have some insider direct information about Aaron Rodgers' football future that
hope he's not going to Peru with him to do ayahuasca.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
And now, the Low Post.
Welcome to the Low Post podcast. We are 5 days out from one of the wildest trade deadlines in the history of the league. And this is one of my favorite times of the year because now it's just basketball. We get to see how all the new puzzle pieces fit together. These first games where Luka and Kyrie play together. We haven't seen Durant yet, obviously. You get your first impressions of how this all works. Also, the buyout guys are starting to find homes, so we have a better sense of that landscape. Justin Holiday, Terrence Ross, other Danny Green. And it just feels good to get distance from the wildness. Your brain works better with a little distance from the wildness. And for the first time in way too long, to help us understand this new landscape of the NBA, from Sports Illustrated, the author of Blood in the Garden, a best-selling book about the 90s Knicks, a team I just hated growing up. Chris Herring, how are you, sir?
I'm really good, Zach. It's really good to be back on with you. Thank you for having me.
Is it, though? Is it good? Is it that good?
It is, man. It is. We connect offline, and it's been, like you said, it's been a minute. I feel like I've been busy in a lot of. First of all, you were going in about Valentine's Day. You've been married long enough to have that stance openly. Have that stance. I just got engaged, so I don't think that I can have quite as hardline a stance on that one. So I got plenty of flowers, Valentine's gifts, because I don't want to lose what I just gained. So I'm gonna take the opposite side from you.
Congratulations.
I appreciate
enjoy that. Before we start with the sort of biggest, most interesting things to us about the last third of the season, I haven't talked to you now that the dust is settled, and I read your initial reaction to it. What is your take on the Phoenix Suns trading 4 unprotected first-round picks, 1 swap, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, and probably something I'm forgetting, and Jay Crowder, to the Nets for Kevin Durant and TJ Warren? From a purely Suns perspective, I don't want to talk anymore about the Nets.
$100 on average.
Half-hour headlines on SportsCenter all night.
Again, our top stories: Kevin Durant introduced by the Phoenix Suns on Thursday, expected to play after the All-Star break. Giannis suffers a wrist injury. X-rays negative as the Bucks win their 12th straight. The Celtics take the interim tag off Joe Mazzulla. They carry the league's best record to that All-Star break, and Maryland hands Purdue their second straight loss.
There's nothing like come game time. The feeling of the butterflies and trying to calm all that stuff down, the adrenaline, the ball goes further.
We need to require something of Tiger Woods. We don't know how great he is. He's either the greatest ever at what he does or one of the 2 or 3 greatest ever.
Tiger roaring on Thursday, at least late. He made an impressive return to the PGA Tour, finishing with 3 straight birdies for a 69 at the Genesis Invitational. That leaves him 5 shots off the lead, playing for the first time since last July at St. Andrews. Woods on the subject of his ankle and foot pain and playing through it.
My ankle's a lot smaller than it has been. So I've had so many surgeries that the ankles just keeps changing. The leg keeps changing. So yes, the shoes keep changing, the socks keep changing. Everything's a moving target. How much I'm on my feet, how much I'm not, how active I am, how not active. The muscles that are on are off. So it literally is a moving target all the time. So the communication between myself and my staff and my training team, it's ebb and flow daily, trying to figure out the right tape job, the right angles, the padding that we need. That all changes from day to day. Or if we look at what we were last year, it has completely changed, and it will continue to change. Unfortunately, that's my issue, is that this leg will never be what it once was, and so we have to adapt to it. And my team's been incredible.
Tiger, it would just sort of seem natural that as the round progresses, your ankle's going to maybe get more sore. You're on your feet for so long. Does that make the finish all the more better?
Yes,
you were able to get through it. And,
yes.
And were you struggling with that at the end at all?
Yes. I'm a little bit sore right now, and we were laughing, joking in the scoring tent here. Roy's gonna go down and hit some drivers. I said, I'll be right there, right behind you. So no, yes, I need to go and we can do some treatment and get this thing ready for tomorrow. And again, last year you saw it. I didn't finish off the rounds right. Those are things that I hadn't done.
And Woods opened well here, 269, 6 of 14 fairways, hit 12 of 18 greens in regulation. Again, it marks 844 days since his last competitive round in a non-major. He's not finished in the top 10 on the tour since 2020. Andy North on SportsCenter with SVP.
I think not only was it important physically, but I think mentally for him it was huge. He actually addressed it a little bit in the interview afterwards. But the key now is that how is his body going to react? He's only got 12 or 13 hours before he has to tee it up again. So can he get his body to come back and feel somewhat like it did today? I mean, we saw a guy with really some great speed. He had a bunch of drives over 320. He drove it by both Rory and Justin multiple times during the day. So he's got some speed. The golf part looks good. Physically he can do it.
Yeah, that was nice to see, though, at least on Thursday. You're listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. I'm Jim Basswell from the NFL. Saints running back Alvin Kamara, Bengals quarterback Chris Lamons, and two other men have been indicted by a grand jury for allegedly assaulting a man at a Las Vegas nightclub. That came last February. Meantime, Cardinals coach Jonathan Gannon eager to get started with what he dubs the elite Kyler Murray during his introductory news conference. The subject of Murray quickly came up.
I use the term, he's a problem to defend because what he can do. He's a legit problem for defenses. You know, he has a very unique skill set, and that's what I'm looking forward to, working with him and showing him, hey, this is how defenses are going to try to stop you. Here's what you need to be ready for. And these are the things that we're going to do with him that's going to help him move all the way up and down the field and score a bunch of points and be explosive and protect the football.
Again, and one of two Eagles coordinators who got head jobs this offseason with Shane Steichen, the other going to Indy, Dan Graziano, on how the team replaces the duo.
Well, they have guys on staff on the offensive side that I know they're high on. The quarterbacks coach, Brian Johnson, is the one everybody has their eye on. I think the defensive side's a little trickier because there are guys they could promote, but I don't get the sense that there's the same kind of feeling on that side of the ball in terms of experience. I do think that they will look around at the defensive coordinator landscape, and there's some good names out there. But they thought very highly of Jonathan Gannon and didn't want to lose him, and part of that is because they weren't 100% sure they had the replacement on staff.
Graz with Greeny, Eagles coach Nick Sirianni on the potential of staying in-house for those jobs.
Shane and Jonathan were successful not only because Shane and Jonathan are good football coaches, but also because they have good assistants and they have good people working with them. And so I feel like we have a lot of good in-house options, which is always going to be where I start because you know, that's just always kind of been how I've learned of, you know, grooming the people that you have and attempts for when this day happens that you're ready to go. But we won't stop just there. I mean, we'll look at every option to make sure we're getting the best people in here to help our team. We're going to do what's best for the Philadelphia Eagles.
And then there's the subject of a contract extension for quarterback Jalen Hurts, who finished second for league MVP. Eagles GM Howie Roseman.
We want to keep our best players here for the long term, and he's certainly one of our best players. So that's something we'll keep all the contract talks internal, but we definitely would like to keep Jalen Hurts here long term.
Well, Harry Douglas and Chris Canty have an idea on that subject, and they think strike quick, strike now.
If you extend Jalen Hurts with a top-of-the-market deal, it's going to be obsolete in the next 2 to 3 years. It would behoove the Philadelphia Eagles to get this deal done before Joe Burrow gets a new contract, before Justin Herbert gets a new contract, before Lamar Jackson gets a new contract. The question isn't whether or not Jalen Hurts will be the highest paid player in the NFL when he signs his new deal. Based on average annual value, that's a given. The only question is going to be for how long. And I would argue that it's not going to be that long if you get it done before those other contracts get taken care of.
You talk about a guy who wasn't a first-round draft pick, so he didn't get the money that a lot of these other guys got up front because he was a second-round draft pick. Jalen Hurts, you talk about a guy who finished second in the MVP voting. Not only that, 3,700 yards passing, 66.5 completion percentage, 22 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, on top of rushing for 750 yards and 13 touchdowns. You talk about the leadership. You talk about the cool, calm, and collectiveness that he displays on a football field when things doesn't go right. And I can't help but to think about that fumble that he had in the Super Bowl, but came back the following drive because he stays cool, calm, and collected. He don't let the highs get too high, doesn't let the lows get too low, and led his team right back down the field for a touchdown. He's everything that Philadelphia embodies, so pay the man what he wants.
374 total yards of offense, 4 total touchdowns accounted for in that Super Bowl loss. You want a hot take on a young quarterback? How about Bart Scott on what the Bears should do with Justin Fields?
You want to see them
with a good offensive line. You want to see him with great skill position players. That takes time. Jalen Hurts went into a situation where that was already in place. Kelsey was already there. Milano was already there. So now how do you get that for a young quarterback? You get it by getting draft capital. So imagine what, Justin Fields, because he's under contract for 2 to 3 more years, would get you as far as draft compensation to be able to do that. The thing is, Chicago has all the money in the world. They don't have the players. And I don't know how many people are going to rush to go join a team that's just starting. This gives the new regime an opportunity to get a fresh start, restart the clock for 5 years. And you saw that that's how you win in this league, by getting the most talent you can get with a cheap quarterback on a rookie deal, much like Jalen Hurts is, much like when you think about Russell Wilson and what that was. It gives you an opportunity to go and get can't-miss veterans.
Yeah, they can also, Bo, trade down from the top overall pick for teams that will look to trade up for that quarterback position, and that's how they could add to their draft capital as well. Then there's the quarterback position of the New York Jets. Should the team wait on Aaron Rodgers or just go for Derek Carr, who right now is there on the open market? Dan Graziano, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Rodgers. I mean, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to go like 11-6 and get the 3 seed? Like, are you trying to win the Super Bowl? I think you got to take a big swing. Like, if you're the Jets, like you're the most appealing of these options for these guys, right? Like, you have the top 10 defense. You have the offensive and defensive rookies of the year on your team. You have an exciting young running back who could have been offensive rookie of the year if he didn't get hurt. You have offensive linemen coming back healthy, ideally. So I think you have to take the biggest swing you can. Now, you guys are right about we don't know what the price is, et cetera, but I think if you're the Jets, you have to at least explore the highest end options available to you.
KJ Maxx this morning, joined by Jeff Darlington at 7:15 Eastern. Chris Canny joins the show at 8:30. Chiefs wideout Sky Moore at 9 Eastern. And Mike Tannenbaum, ESPN front office insider at 9:30 Eastern. It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU, 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. You're listening to SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. I'm Jim Baswell. Broadcaster and former Cardinals catcher Tim McCarver has died. He was 81. During 60 years in Major League Baseball, McCarver played in 2 All-Star games and on 2 World Series championship teams. He was the preferred catcher for Bob Gibson in the 1960s and Steve Carlton in the 1970s. He later had a long run as one of the country's most recognizable, incisive, and talkative television commentators. The Baseball Hall of Fame honored his on-air work in 2012. For years, he teamed with Joe Buck on Fox Sports telecast. Buck joined SportsCenter with SVP.
I will tell you, he was a tremendous teammate. He was a guy that if you were in the proverbial foxhole with him, he'd go to war for you. I loved him. He and I used to joke. He was a great audience. He's one of those guys that when you're in the booth with somebody and you make a joke, he would almost over laugh because he wanted people. I mean, look at some of these ridiculous moments. He wanted people to know that he appreciated the joke. He was so terrific, and he always wanted to teach. He always wanted to impart all that wisdom that he built up with a 20-year career. And as you said, I mean, he did everything. He won world championships as a player. He was an all-star. He was a broadcaster forever. And, how many decades was he teaching young fan after young fan who became older fan and older fan with the Yankees and with the Mets and with the Phillies, and at the end of his career with the Cardinals. He loved the game. The game was better off because he was a big part of it.
And you speak of him being a teammate, and that I'm sure helps you grow. But as you look back on how you got to where you now are as a broadcaster, in terms of your comfort with who you are and how you do the job, how much can you trace the line back to Tim and allowing that growth and fostering that growth?
Yeah, I mean, my first answer would be nepotism. I come at it from that, being my dad's son, being Jack Buck's son. My dad worked 2 years with Tim at CBS doing the national games and calling the World Series. But I learned what it takes to be a network announcer from that guy that I'm standing next to in that video. I was 27. probably out of my depth doing the World Series as a kid, scared to death of being found out as some kind of fraud and somebody's kid who just snuck in and started calling play-by-play. And the minute that he took some baseball point that I made and gave it some weight and accepted it, or I don't want to say argue, but just converse with me about whatever it was that I brought up, he gave me relevance and kind of signed off that this kid is okay to call these games because he had been doing it forever. So I owe so much to him. He could have made it so hard on me, and it was the opposite. He welcomed me to that big stage, and I leaned on him. He leaned on me. We were together for 18 years, called 16 World Series together, never had a crossword. And I just loved the man. I just loved him. And I really came to feel that he was a part of my family in some way.
He was the best Major League Baseball analyst the game has ever had. Coming up, more late night college hoops and the night's top plays with a hard court flair. That's next. You're listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Friday, Rodgers, Carr, Tannehill, and Jimmy G. I'll tell you which teams make the most sense for each quarterback. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
More Sports Center all night. Next.
You can't miss a moment with Greeny. You know how strongly I feel about the team that I follow in football, the New York Jets. If you need 25 things to win a Super Bowl, they've got like 22 of them. Overwhelmingly the most important one, they have the worst quarterbacks in the NFL as opposed to good ones. So the Aaron Rodgers thing is going to be a saga because he's so incredibly unpredictable.
Greeny, weekday mornings at 10 a.m. on 98.7 ESPN.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-311-1832 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-311-1832.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-311-1832.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
The biggest names, the biggest games. They're all right here. This is 1050 ESPN, New York. Center all night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Here's Jim Basquill.
Yeah, we're back on Sports Center all night with more college hoops.
Right back out to Hawkins. Little ball fake here, jump stop, hemmed in, loops it past the Clark with 5 to shoot. High-low with Hawkins, fadeaway. Rainbow's good. Jaime's getting it going now. 20 points for Hawkins.
That's Josh Lewin from Learfield. Jaime Hawkins had 26. UCLA wins their 22nd straight game at a home. They're spotless there this season at 14-0 as the 4th-ranked Bruins beat Stanford 73-64. And this is what you call an avenging win.
Bulldogs trap Shelton again. Smith rips it away. Malachi on the way to the rim. Throws it down with 2 hands. The Bulldogs get the steal late in the first half. Shelton pulls up from 30. Comes up short. And it is a Gonzaga kind of night here in Southern California. 40-point Bulldog lead at the break. 68-28 is our score.
That's Tom Hudson from Learfield. 13th ranked Gonzaga avenges that earlier loss to Loyola Marymount. How about 108-65? That's your final rout. LMU snapped Gonzaga's 75-game home court winning streak on January 19th, but the Lions were no match this time around. The night's top sounds all about a hoop in NBA and the college ranks with a win streak from the pros and an upset from the college ranks. Kevin Winter has the details.
Number 4.
Jim, all the highlights from Thursday night come from the hardwood, a couple from the association, some from the college ranks. Let's start in the NBA. Final games, you can hear the Lear Jets just zooming and revving up as everyone gets set to go 1-2-3 Cancun for the All-Star break. And before they did, Milwaukee would reel off 12 consecutive wins. The call from Dave Cohen, WTMJ.
As the inbound pass from Carly Jones sends it to Bradley, and that will be that. Final horn sounds, 112 points for the Bucks to make it 12 straight wins going into the All-Star break tonight with this 112-100 win against the Chicago Bulls, doing it mostly without Giannis tonight.
Number 3.
Jim, we go to Minnesota where the Timberwolves looked like they'd have a comfortable win over the Washington Wizards. And that's why they play a full 48. Bradley Beal and company went off in the 4th quarter. The call for the team, 980.
Bradley Beal left the circle guarded by McDaniels.
They better get going on this play.
Porzingis screen. Beal, top of the arc for 3. It's there! It's there! Wizards sending the biggest lead. 110-106 with 36 seconds left. We said take over Bradley, and he has 35 points. You kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. We're dead serious.
Number 2.
Jim, from the college ranks, it appears we're playing the game of who wants to and who should be the number 1 team in the land. Alabama going down on Wednesday night. We'll get to what happened on Thursday in a moment. But for the number 2 team in the land, the Houston Cougars, they were at home and they had no problem. Jeremy Branham with the call from Learfield.
Over to the left wing, Sasserton on the shot clock. Sasser jabs right, step back, left corner, 3, got it! Marcus Sasser! What a move! Sasser himself can't believe the move he just pulled off.
Number 1.
As for the number 3 team in the land, Jim, Purdue visiting Maryland in the Fighting Scott Van Pelts. Purdue is up by 8 in the second half. And then they gave up a 29-4 run. Fear the Turtle. The call from the Terrapin Sports Radio Network.
And that will be it. Final seconds ticking off. And here come the students on the floor. The Terrapins have upset Purdue 68-54 with a fantastic second half. It is Bedlam.
Yeah, the upset has been the norm in college basketball this season. Absolutely no doubt. Plenty of NFL talk with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max this morning. Jeff Darlington joins the show at 7:15 Eastern. Let's get the guest list stacked here. Chris Canty comes on at 8:30. Sky Moore, Super Bowl champ, Chiefs wideout, who scored in that game at 9 Eastern. And Mike Tannenbaum, ESPN front office insider at 9:30 Eastern. It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU. NHL, Jeremy Swayman, 29 saves, second shutout of the season, 7th of his career. Bruins on pace for 62 wins, which would be the most ever in a single season in the league. They blanked Nashville 5-0.
But he has made some big saves. And now here's Jarvis, short-handed for the hat-trick. On multiple, Jarvis scores! Here come the Hats!
Valley Sports, Seth Jarvis' first career hat trick. Carolina scored 3 times in the first 5 minutes of the third to best Montreal 6-2. Veteran defenseman Mark Stahl ended a 75-game goal drought. Panthers held on to beat the Capitals 6-3 in a big game in the Eastern Conference wildcard race. Florida pulling even with Washington, each with 62 total points.
Travis Kelce. I don't see another tight end out there that has done some of the things he's done.
Patrick Mahomes makes everybody better. Just a question. But it's not like dude was a scrub.
Travis Kelce is above everyone.
Yeah, winning a second Super Bowl in 4 seasons does have its privileges. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, he will be guest hosting a Saturday Night Live. That comes on March 4th. How about his former teammate and the retiring Chad Henne on Patrick Mahomes' superstitions? He shared this on the Adam Schefter podcast.
What do you see every day that we don't get to see on Sundays?
The details, the superstitions, baseball background. So all these guys, he has to have a certain thing each and every day. He comes in, he does his work, his notes are written out a certain way. Same pair of underwear, which probably not a lot of people know. On game day, he's been wearing it since I've been a part of it.
Perhaps that's taking us too far behind the curtain, as that's not a need-to-know subject. American skier Michaela Schifrin won gold in the women's giant slalom at the World Championships. And again, Tiger Woods shoots an opening round 69, finishes with 3 straight birds at Riviera in his first non-major in 844 days. Thanks for staying up all night. For producer Josiah Howard and technical directors Kevin Wall and Cam Ershry, I'm Jim Baswell. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max with plenty of NFL talk is next.
Coming up next, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means, wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you could cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need. Indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign. And we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
The Michael K. Show is on.
Tim Legler, how do you look at this Knicks team?
I think the Knicks are a pretty good basketball team. I think they play hard. Jalen Brunson's ceiling is significantly higher than I ever thought it was coming out of Villanova, and I'll be the first to admit it. He is a big-time offensive player in this league, and he's a big game player. I really like their team, and I think they're positioned now to potentially get into that top 5, like you mentioned, which would be incredible.
Don't miss the Michael K. Show, weekdays at 3 on 98.7 ESPN.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will